Hello everyone. So we are going to discuss week 7 practice assignment solution today. So let's go ahead with the first question. Now in the first question, a figure is given to us and we are asked to find which is the correct set of options. So if you can scroll it down to the option, we can see. Now the degree of p of x is minimum 5, the degree of p of x is minimum 7. So let's check this out, which is right and which is wrong among this. So if I scroll it up to the figure, we can see here in the figure a curve is given to us, p of x, and we have to find what is the minimum degree of this. Now in order to find the minimum degree, let us quickly recall the behavior of curve at x-axis. We know that when the curve it simply crosses the x-axis in a linear fashion, it will have a degree of 1. So this will have a degree 1, and we would have also seen in the lecture that when the curve crosses the x-axis with slight bend, it will have an odd power or a degree with minimum 3, and that graph something looks like this. As we can see, a slight bend over here. Not necessarily it will be at origin, it can be over here too, or this can also happen. So what we see is there is slight bend at x-axis, so this will have a minimum degree of 3 and it is going to have an odd power. And for even degree polynomial, the curve bounces back and it will be of the form, it will be in this form, right? So it can have any degree like 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on and so forth. Now let us address the first and second options given to us. So let's call this as A1, A2, A3, A4 and A5 for the simplicity, so that we can address them properly. At A1, what we notice is, at A1, at this point, we notice that the curve crosses it in a linear fashion. So it is going to have a degree 1. So A1 will have 1 degree. So I'll denote degree as D, let's say D. And at A2, let's try and understand at A2 what's happening. So at A2 we see that the curve bounces back. It's not crossing. It's not going this way, right? So what we see here is, since it's bouncing back, so it can have an even degree, right? So what is the minimum even degree it can have? It can have 2. Let's go with the at point A3. So what we notice here, again the curve bounces back and it is not crossing, so it can again have an even degree here. So the minimum even degree it can have is again 2 here. Similarly for A4 and A5 we find out. So at A4 we can see there is no bend but a straight line. It appears as if a straight line crossing it, so it will have 1 degree. Similarly for A5 it is going to have 1 degree. So in total, let's see how many degrees it will have. So we can see like, so it's going to have a minimum of 7 degree. So the first option given to us is 5. It says the minimum degree is 5, and the second option it says the degree of p of x is minimum 7. So this option becomes right and this becomes wrong. Okay, so now let's see what is the next option given to us. X to the power of 4 could be a factor of p of x. If I take you to the same figure again, yeah, so here we can see the option says x to the power of 4 can be one factor, right? So at point A3, what we notice is, at point A3, A3 is nothing but at 0, so it can have in factor what, in the form x minus 0 to the power. What we see here is the curve at A3 is bouncing back, so it can have the even degree, right? So it can have either 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on and so forth. So therefore x to the power of 4, when we simplify this, x to the power of 4 can be one factor of p of x. So in the next option, p of x is an odd function. Now let's see that. We know the definition of odd function. and we can also understand with the symmetry of the figure here. Now we know that in the lecture we have already seen a function will be odd when p, for this function, p of minus x is equals to minus of p of x. Or from the graph what we can say is when p of x is symmetric about its origin, it will be an odd function. But what we notice here is this is not a symmetric graph, right? So as we can see, this is not symmetric about the origin, therefore this is not a odd function. Let's go and see the next option. Okay, so the next option says the multiplicity of a positive roots of p of x can be even. Now let's see what are the positive roots here from the graph. Now the positive roots are, this thing, if at a4, at a5, at a4 and at a5 the curve just crosses it in a linear fashion, so it can have a maximum of 1 degree, and this can also have a maximum of 1 degree. Therefore it cannot be even, because we are very much well aware with the fact that multiplicity is nothing but the number of times that factor is repeated, right? So here, since its degree is 1, therefore it will be repeated once, so it's not going to be an even, right? Let us quickly look at the next option given to us. So in the next option it says, so therefore like these two are wrong. The next option says the multiplicity of 0 and at least one negative root could be the same. Now let's see the option given to us. So we can see here there are two negative roots. One is at a1 and a2, and it says at least one negative roots will have the same degree as the one which is at a3, correct? Which is the 0 root. Since at a2 and a3 we can see the curve simply bounces back, right? So therefore it can have an even multiplicities. So there can be a possibility that, both being, let's say, of degree 2, or both can be of degree 4, or both can be of degree 5. Therefore the last option also becomes right. Let's go to the next set of questions. So the next question is, choose the correct option from the given set of options. So now the first statement is every function must be either an odd function or an even function. So this is not right, because there are certain function which is neither an even function nor an odd function. So we know this, a function is even if f of minus x is equal to f of x, and a function is odd if f of minus x is equals to minus f of x, right? An example of a function which is neither an odd nor an even is, let's say, f of x is equal to x cube plus x square. Now this is my f of x. Now if I want to find what is my f of minus x, then this is something I'll obtain. F of minus x is equals to minus x cube plus x square, right? So what we see here is f of minus x is not equal to what? F of x. Therefore this is not, it is not an even function, right? So now let's try and see whether it is an odd function or not. Now we know that for an odd function, what has to be satisfied? This condition, f of minus x is equals to minus f of x. But what do we see here? F of minus x is nothing but minus x cube plus x square. So if I'm here to write f of minus x is equals to minus x cube plus x square, and when I just take out minus term from here, so what do I get? This is going to be x cube minus x square, and this is not my f of x. This is This is not f of x. Therefore, this is neither an even function nor an odd function, right? So this is one contrary to the statement given to us here. Now let's try and understand the other option and check whether it is right or wrong. A function is an even function if f of x is equals to mod x. Now this is something, a definition of the function itself, even function itself, because if it is given like f of x is equals to f of mod x, this can be written in the form f of x is equals to f of x, or f of x is equals to f of minus x, which is something, a definition of an even function itself. Therefore the second statement is right. Now the third statement is, if f of x is equals to 0 for all x belongings to R is an even function, which is absolutely right, because no matter what value you give for x, you will always have the output 0 here, right? So if I give f of minus x, it will still give me 0, and f of x, it will still give me 0. So what do I notice here? F of x is equals to f of minus x, right? So which is something, a definition of an even function which satisfies, therefore this option becomes right. Now looking ahead with the next option, every even degree polynomial is an even function, which is not necessarily a same, because this is a wrong statement, because if I have to write here, if f of x is equals to x to the power of 4 plus x cube, right? So this is an even degree polynomial, right? This is an even degree polynomial, but if I have to fulfill this condition of an even degree, I should get what? F of minus x is equals to this. When I substitute minus x here, it will eventually make it positive, and here I'll get it what? X cube. And what do I notice here? These both are not same, right? Therefore not every even degree polynomial is an even function, correct? So in the next question, a polynomial p of x is given, and it is told it satisfies the following properties. Now it says p of x is an even degree polynomial. Second condition is p of x has at least one positive real root and at least one negative real root. And the third condition is x minus 2 to the power of n, basically x minus 2 the whole square, is a factor of p of x, and p of 0 is not equals to 0. So for even degree polynomial, we know how does the curve, the end points of the curve will be on the same side. This is an even degree polynomial. So what we see is the end point is on the same side. On the same side in the sense, the curve overall does not crosses the x-axis, but rather return to its end. On contrary, I can give another example here. Though it might go like this, but what we see here, the end points of the curve, it crosses the x-axis. Therefore, this is the curve for even and this is the curve for odd function, like for in overall sense. So now let's try and see whether which all options satisfies this even degree polynomial condition. So according to the first option, condition given to us, it was an even degree polynomial. So this satisfies that. This also satisfies. A, B satisfies. C also satisfies. D does not satisfies. So D becomes wrong here. And E also satisfies. It is on the same side as we can see here. And F also satisfies. Now the next option, the next condition is P of x has at least one positive real root and at least one negative real roots. Now let's see which all options fulfill this condition. So we can see here in option given to us, and the condition that one positive and one negative real roots. So we can see here there is one positive and one negative. So again here one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative, right? So this thing satisfies, right? So it satisfies for all A, B, C, E, F. Now let's see which is the third condition given to us. Now the third condition says x minus 2 to the power of n, which is maximum of 2, is a factor of p of x. So basically all we have to check is x minus 2 to the power of 2, or in other words, this is going to be something of this form, correct? Something of this one, wherein just it touches the x-axis and it bounces back on the either side, either this side or it can be this side, but this is something where 2 lies, right? That is x is equals to 2. So this is one root. So now let's see which all option satisfies this condition. Clearly we don't see anything bouncing here at A, on the positive side of the x-axis. Therefore this is option A is gone with third condition. Similarly, option B is again ruled out. It's because nothing is bouncing back on the positive side of the x-axis. Here at option C, what we notice here is, we can see clearly here the curve bounces back. So assuming this can be 2 and it bounces back, therefore this option becomes right. Similarly, D was wrong over there, so we can leave that. Now here again at E we see, at assuming this is 2 and the curve is bouncing back, therefore this can be another right option. And F also, let's say this was actually a bit beyond there, but assuming it just touches and bounces back, this supposingly we can take this also to be right. But if I zoom in this, you will notice it actually does not bounces here, right? It just goes beyond that. So we can ignore that fact, but let us consider it bounces back and it might be some minor error over there, and assume it just bounces back, right, and making this option right. Now let's see the fourth option given to us. Let us see the fourth condition given to us. Now it says P of 0 is not equals to 0. That means this will not be happening. That means this is not happening. That is, P of 0 is not 0. Okay, so let's see which all options can be right with this condition. So as we have already seen, A and B options are wrong, C was right, and it says what? The condition says P of 0 is not equals to 0. So clearly we can see option C being right, because at 0, x equals to 0, P of 0 is not 0. That is somewhere it has some values, correct? So this option is right. So C is right. Now you can look at option D is wrong. Obviously D option is wrong. And again here, now option E is again right. It's because at x equals to 0 we see some value of P and it is not equals to 0. So even E becomes right. But coming at F, at x equals to 0 we see P of 0 is being 0. Therefore this option becomes wrong, and therefore the only options right is C and E. Now we can move ahead with the next question. Let us go ahead with the next question. It says, suppose a cubic polynomial f intersects the x-axis at x equals to 1 and x equals to -2. So it's given to us, cubic polynomial intersects at these 2 points. So I'll quickly draw it here, assuming this is 1 and this being -2. Okay. Now other condition is f of x is lesser than 0 between 0 and 1. So this is our 0 and 1, and f of x is lesser than 0. That means it will be somewhere roughly it is going to be like this, right? And another condition is f of x is greater than 0 when x belongs to -2 to 0. So that this point, that is -2 comma 0, this is greater than 0. F of x is greater than 0. So this can be of form this way. Therefore we can now we need to find the equation of the polynomial. Now for it to be a cubic polynomial, clearly this graph will go, if I extend it, this will go this way and this will go this way, right? So this is one understanding we can make. So, and from the given condition it says x belongs to 0 to 1, f of x is lesser than 0, and with the condition f of x is greater than 0 when x belongs to -2 to 0. That means the another factor can be here, correct? So the possible equation can be of what? From the given condition, x minus 1 is one condition, so the factor is this. So x of -2 is another factor, and it says since it is going through 0, so this can be of form what? X minus 0 is another factor, and a constant, let's say a. Now this a determines the peak value of this. Now this can be more and this can be less, or more here, less here, or whatsoever. Clearly from the graph, the a value is going to be positive. As we can see, this curve, gets extended this way, correct? So this is one possible, so this is a possible equation. So if I simplify this, this is going to be what? Ax, x minus 1 and x plus 2. So now let's try and understand the given set of options given here. So we can simplify this and right, and therefore option 3 becomes right. So the next question is, the volume of a box V varies with some variable x as V of x is equals to x cube plus 12x square plus 39x plus 28 cubic meters. And if x plus a meter is the measurement of one side of a box, then choose the correct option for a. So clearly it says what? X plus a is the measurement of the side of a box, right? So we know that volume V is of a box is given as L into B into H, correct? This is L, this is B, and this is H, right? And x plus a represents that thing, right? So in other words, what I see is this is basically a factors, right? So L, so assuming that V can be its product factor, so it can be of x plus a into x plus, let's say, another variable, a1 into x plus a2, correct? So this can represent L, B and H. So all we are interested here is to find this a value, correct? So, and we also got to know with this intuition that basically the sides are nothing but what? The factors of V of x, correct? So we can use this knowledge and factorize V of x and get what are its various factors, and that will represent its length, breadth and height, correct? So let's factorize this. So it is given to us V of x is equals to x cube plus 12x square plus 39x plus 28. So one way of solving this cubic polynomial is to find out one of its root. So one of its root can be founded using hit and trial method. So we can use either 1, we can use 0, 1, minus 1, 2, minus 2, 3, minus 3. So we can go in this order and find out one of its root. So clearly everything is positive, and if I substitute 0, I'll be left with 28, which is not going to give me anything. If I give it 1, so obviously this will not give me any of its factors. So therefore all the positive values I can rule out. Now I'm left with these negative values. Now if I substitute minus 1 here, so V of minus 1 will give me what? Minus 1. This will give me plus 12 plus 39 minus 39 plus 28. So when I solve this, this will make it what? Minus 39 minus 1 will make it minus 40, and 28 plus 12 is nothing but plus 40, which will give me what? 0. So that means minus 1 is one such factor. So I can write this as x minus of minus 1 is one of my factors. So there is another word, x plus 1 is one of the factor. Now in order to find the other factor of V of x, we can simply divide V of x by x plus 1 and we get a quadratic equation, and we can simply solve the quadratic equation to get the other factors, right? So I'll just erase this and we'll do that division, synthetic division. So if I do that division here, so I can write down x plus 1 divided by x cube plus 12x square plus 39x plus 28. Now I can take x square here, so this will be x plus, so I get this as my quadratic equation, so that is x square plus 11x plus 28. So when I factorize this, what do I do the factorization of this. So I'll have x plus 4, x plus 7. So what do I see here? The other factors which I obtained from here is x plus 4 and x plus 7. So together, since the side is represented in the form of x plus a, so we can say from here, compare this with this. So a here is nothing but 1, from here 4, and from here it is going to be 7. So these are the possible values of a. So a is equals to 1, 4, 7. So which we can see this option become right. Let's go ahead with the next question number 6. For the next set of questions, that is question number 6 and 7, a common information is given to us, and the information is Ankita has to travel a various location for advertising her company's product. The company reimburses her expenses such as accommodation, food, etc. The company also blacklists an employee whenever the employee's expenditure in a given month exceeds rupees 9,000. So basically, in a particular month, when the expenditure is more than 9,000, the company blacklists the employee. So the account department fits the data of Ankita's monthly expenditure to a polynomial which is given as EX, where X is the number of months since her joining the company, and it is given that the polynomial fit is applicable for 2 years. That means total 24 months. A company blacklists an employee whenever the employee's expenditure in a month is more than 9,000. So when expenditure E of X is more than 9,000, in other words, E of X minus 9,000 greater than 0. Okay. So question number 6 says, if E of X minus 9,000 is equal to A in times X minus 4.5 times X minus 12 times X minus 20. So we just told, like, E of X minus 900 has to be minus 9,000 has to be greater than 0. So A into X minus 4.5, X minus 12 and X minus 20 also has to be greater than 0. So with this information, it is clear that Ankita's expenditure is in the form of cubic polynomial, right? So we can just give a rough sketch for this. Since this is already in factor form, therefore it becomes very much easier to locate the zeros on the curve. So a rough curve which we can make here is, considering this is x-axis, basically this x-axis represents the number of months. Considering this to be 4.5, this as 12 and this as and this is 20, and here it is given that A is positive, so we know how does this curve will go, right? So we can say it must be going something like this, because this is cubic polynomial and we have traced all the 3 roots, and this curve is nothing but E of X minus 90,000. So we can clearly see at 4.5 it is at 0. So at 5 we can see it will be somewhere here, right? So on 5th month the value is above EX minus 9,000, correct? So 5th, so we have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. So altogether from here we obtain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we obtain 7 months from here. And over here at this region we see that EX minus 9000 is lesser than 0, so we don't have to consider this region. Okay. Now again over here, now after 20th month, next which all month includes, like 21, 22, 23 and 24, which accounts for another 4 months. So therefore altogether in 11 months in total she will be blacklisted 11 times in 2 years. Just to repeat again, this 4 months we get it from here, that is 21, 22, 23 and 24, and this value is at this places the EX minus 9000 is greater than 0. We consider those values over here. Together it accounts for 11 months. Now we'll move to the question number 7. So the next question is, choose the information that is not required to solve the question number 6. So the first option is end behavior of X. End behavior of X is essential because this is how the knowledge of the leading coefficient will actually tell us in predicting how does the function behave. For example, we had those points like 4.5, then we had 12, and then we had 20, and these were those points. So it was, as I mentioned earlier, a value was positive, the leading coefficient term was positive. Therefore I know that when it is positive, this curve will open this way, right? Had it been negative, this curve would have opened this way, right? And in that case the value would have been totally different from what we have achieved. Therefore end behavior of the curve is very much essential. Zeros of the function is again essential thing in order to plot the graph, because since the data was already given like 4.5, 12 and 20, this data was exploited to plot this graph, and this is very informative in terms of knowing where does the x-intercept lies, and it becomes a very much critical to determine our answer. So again zeros of the function will be very much essential. Degree of the polynomial of e of x. Now this is again an essential statement in order to solve the question number 6. If the degree was unknown to us, this graph would have been totally different. Let's say if the degree was 4 and only these 3 points were given to us, so we would have had to calculate the other factor, and the graph would have been something like this, or so that information is very much essential to know the characteristics of the curve. The exact value of a is not necessary, because in order to solve the question number 6, because the a value will only matter here. So if this was like 4.5, 12 and 20, so the a will just determine where the vertex lies, because in this problem we are not interested where does this takes us through, like where does the vertex lies, right? And therefore the exact value of a is not that essential for solving the question number 6. So the right option is exact value of a is not required to solve question number 6. Let's move ahead with the next set of question. So the next question is question number 8. An equipment shows the reading y of x upon applying the load x in tons. Okay, so this information is given to us. Now starting from x equals to 0 ton, the load is steadily increased and thus the reading y of x is observed to increase. Further, the question says the first stage of failure is observed at a certain load x1, after which increasing in the load results in decreasing in the reading. the load is continuously increased after the first stage of failure. Okay, and the second stage of failure occurs at load x2 when the reading reaches 80 and the equipment stops working thereafter. Okay, now with this information given, such as ABC, we have to find what will be the maximum load x2 so that the equipment does not stop working. And we are given with the useful information, that is y of x minus 80 is this, and if we can see, it has got this polynomial is of degree 5, so 1 plus 2, that's 3, here 1 and here 1, that's 5 altogether. And another information is c square minus 4bd is lesser than 0 and a minus ab is lesser than 0. Now we have to make use of this information and the conditions we obtained from the question in order to solve this question. Okay, so these informations are given. So now, when we can plot this graph roughly and to the information given to us. So x equals to minus, from here we can obtain that x equals to minus 1, so that will be somewhere here, and here x, since x is given, so one point will be here, and another is x minus 4, so that will go somewhere here at 4. This is 0. So this equation, this polynomial equation is of degree 5, and we already know there are we already got to know 3 roots, and rest 2 roots we can obtain from this part, right? But as we can see here, c square minus 4bd is lesser than 0, right? So this data is something from here, so this is nothing but discriminant of this quadratic equation is lesser than 0. That means there is no real roots over here. So roughly this graph could go something like this. And so on and so forth. So we are not interested in the other values. Now let us make use of the information given over here, that is y of x minus 80. Now why are we doing minus 80? This is done in order to bring the graph to the x-axis. Now this 80 will shift the graph to the bottom to the x-axis. Now we can also ignore this part, since this represent x is nothing but our load, right? And this is y of x minus 80, correct? This, or y-axis, is nothing but this value, right? So, and we know that the load cannot be negative, so we can omit this part as well from the curve, right? And now we will try and interpret the conditions which is given in the question, and we are done with these 3 information in order to plot the graph. Now to reiterate what is asked in the question, so in the question says, starting from x equals to 0 ton, right, the load is strictly increasing, so this is something happening here, and the first stage of failure is happening at x1. So let's say this was our x1, okay, and after that, whenever the load is increasing, the reading, actually we can see y of x is actually decreasing, y of x minus 80, together it will decrease, and this so happens that when it reaches load x2, the equipment does not show any reading, or it stops at that stage. That is when this y of x becomes equals to 80. So this becomes 80 minus 80, which is nothing but 0, which is this point, right? And there won't be any extension of this further curve, because even if you increase load, there won't be any reading in the equipment. So this part is also erased. From the graph, it is clear that at load 4, 4 turns, at load 4 turns, the equipment stop working. Therefore, the correct option would be 4. Let's move ahead with the next question. So the question number 9, it says, let A be the interval which is in closed interval alpha comma beta, where alpha and beta are the smallest and the largest roots respectively of a function f1 of x, which is given here. If B is the largest proper subset of A such that elements of B are integers, okay, then what is the cardinality of B? Okay, so in order to address this question, we first need to find what is alpha and beta, and these are nothing but the smallest and the largest roots respectively for this f1 of x function. Once we obtain that, and then all we have to do is we have to find the largest proper subset of A, that will be our B, and we need to find the cardinality of B, right? Now we are given with a polynomial which is of degree 4, therefore it can have at maximum 4 roots. So when we have a higher degree, we always go with hit and trial method to find one of its root, and then we do a synthetic division method to find the other roots. So by inspection, it is found that one of its root is -2, which even you can try by using the value 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, and these data are, for using hit and trial method, this elementary data becomes very essential to find the initial roots. Also you can go with 3 and -3 if needed. So thus one of its factor is x plus 2, and when this equation, that is f1 of x, this polynomial equation is divided by this factor x plus 2, we obtain this as the quotient, that is x cube minus 5x square plus x minus 5. Now we can write this equation. In order to factorize it, we can write in this form, right? So in order to factorize this equation, what we can do here is we can notice x minus 5 being here, and also we can see x minus 5, which we can obtain after taking out x square common from here, and which is something done right here. So x square, when it is taken out, will be left with x minus 5, and x minus 5 when you take out 1 from there, and therefore we can factorize that and write it in this form. Now clearly what we notice is this factor does not contain real roots, correct? So the only real roots we can obtain is from here we can obtain, that is x is equals to -2, and from here we obtain x is equals to 5. Therefore the smallest and the largest root that we can obtain from here is x equals to -2 and x equals to 5, and therefore the interval -2, 5. So our alpha is -2 and our beta is 5. Now the other part, it says, now B is the largest proper subset of A such that B are integers. Now we have set A which contains element from -2 to 5, right? So it can have all the elements like 2, -2.5, not 2.5, -1.5. It can even have -1.47. it can even have -1, 0, 1, 2. It can have 2.5, and so on and so forth till 5. But what does set B contains? Set B contains only integers, right? So only integers. So which are those elements then? So it will have -2, -1, 0, 1 up to 5. So this will be 5, 6, 7, 8. So altogether set B's cardinality is 8, and therefore the right answer is 8. Let's go to the next set of question. So the next question is, a train follows a path along the curve y equals to x cube plus 12x square plus 3x, and Ria is traveling on path y equals to 0. How many places can Ria catch the train? So Ria is traveling along the path y equals to 0. In other words, it means she is following this path. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and Ria is traveling this way, or on the x-axis, because y equals to 0 is something equation of horizontal line itself. And so she can only catch the train when this curve x cube plus 12x square plus 3x touches the x-axis. That is very obvious because Ria is traveling on a horizontal line which coincides with the x-axis. So it is good to know like where all, or at how many points does this curve cuts the x-axis. Clearly from this equation we can take x common, and we can write this equation in the form of x square plus 12x plus 3, correct? So at x equals to 0, this curve will come here, right? It will touch the x-axis. And now to find whether it touches anywhere else on the x-axis, what we can do is we can find its discriminant in order to know whether it has got two real and distinct roots, or one real and distinct root, or one root, or no root at all. That is something which we can obtain from the discriminant. So discriminant is given by b square minus 4ac, and when it is calculated, it is found that it is equals to 132, and which is something greater than 0. This shows that it has got two real and distinct roots. So we are not interested in knowing where does that cuts the x-axis, but we are very sure that it will definitely cut the x-axis at another 2 points, right? So one x we got it from here, and from here we can find another 2 places where it cuts the x-axis, and those will be the points where the Ria can catch the train. So altogether she can catch the train at 3 different places. With this we end our week 7 practice assignment solution. Thank you.